Right now in the NBA, we are witnessing the most talented era of basketball, and despite it being very fun to watch, the only negative is the fact that with there being so much talented players, many players have become underrated. So in today's video, I will be naming 5 of the most underrated players in the entire NBA. Before we get into the video, I ask you to drop a like on this video to help my channel grow, subscribe to my channel if you want weekly NBA videos, and to help me reach my goal of 1,000 subscribers, and comment on this video to start a conversation with me. Correspond to all of my comments, and play that intro. The first underrated player I will be discussing is De'Aaron Fox, who has been playing like a top 10 point guard this season, as he's taken his game to the absolute next level. As this season, he's been averaging 23 points and 7 assists, shooting 47% from the field and 34% from 3. And Fox is just another case of a player who is just a victim of being in a league way too talented, as despite the fantastic stats that Fox puts up, he still can't make the All-Star team. And even when he missed it, most people didn't even think he was a legitimate All-Star snub. Dearron is the only reason Sacramento isn't the worst team in the league, and it just sucks to see a player of his caliber stuck on such a terrible and hopeless franchise. Fox is one of the fastest players in the entire league, if not the fastest, and his speed makes it literally impossible to stay in front of him, and you can't completely sag off him on the perimeter, as although he's not a great shooter, he's a respectable enough shooter to the point where you have to stay somewhat close to him. Dearron has underratedly been an elite passer this season, as he's been averaging nearly 8 assists. De'Aaron's numbers are also not empty numbers, as he has the second best plus minus on his team, so his numbers are helping his team. The thing that showed me De'Aaron was underrated this season was when some ESPN guy said Fox was who De'Aaron Fox wanted to be Ja Morant or something like that. But to me, Ja and Fox are on the same level. And in my opinion, at this current moment, Fox is better than Ja. And going forward, I wouldn't be surprised if De'Aaron proved to be better than Ja Morant. But this isn't a Ja Morant hate video. But just know, De'Aaron is super underrated. The second underrated player I will discuss is Gordon Hayward. And in my opinion, Hayward has been underrated his whole entire career, because even last season in Boston, he averaged 17 points as a 4th option on great efficiency, and people were still discrediting him. But this season in Charlotte as the #1 option, he has proven that he's an all-star caliber player, as he's been putting up 21 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists, shooting 48% from the field and 40% from 3. Those are top 10 small forward level numbers, and if the NBA wasn't so talented, he definitely would have made the All-Star team. And to prove that he's underrated, nowadays when you think about the Hornets, all social media shows is LaMelo Ball stuff, but they don't show Gordon Hayward playing like an All-Star. Don't forget, when Charlotte gave Gordon that ginormous contract, everyone was on their head saying, why would you give Hayward that contract, or he's not worth it. But now, even though I think Hayward is a bit overpaid, at the end of the day, the Hornets were not going to sign anyone better with that money. Hayward has been playing as good as you could expect. At the making of this video, the Hornets are the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference, and the biggest reason for that has been Hayward's play. And absolutely no one had the Hornets making the playoffs, not a single person. But no one's acknowledging the fact that they're actually in the postseason, and it's because of Gordon Hayward. Hayward's actually leading a team that was one of the worst teams in the NBA last season all the way to the playoffs. He definitely deserves more credit for the way he's been playing. The third underrated player I will discuss is the New York Knicks guard and RJ Barrett, who has significantly improved from his rookie season, as this season he's averaging 17 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists, shooting 45% from the field and 36% from 3. This season the Knicks have been surprising everyone, as they're currently in the playoffs, and most of the credit and recognition goes to Julius Randle and Tom Thibodeau, and even those guys deserve the credit, and I feel they have been getting enough. I feel not enough people are discussing their second best player on the Knicks, who is RJ Barrett, who's a pretty good scorer and he's capable of creating shots for other players, and on the defensive side of the floor, he's an above average defender. RJ is also one of the more forgotten about players from the 2019 draft class, because don't forget, he was the third pick in that draft. He's been overshadowed by guys like Zion and Barrett, and even someone like Tyler Hero gets way more attention from the media. And I honestly think RJ is now better than Hero. And in RJ's rookie season, he didn't play his best, and so much people jumped the gun calling him a bust and claiming he wouldn't be good just because they had seen Zion and Ja be great straight out of the NBA, straight into the NBA. The only thing I'd say RJ needs to work on is his efficiency. But in the future, I think RJ could be an all-star level player, but I don't think it's being spoken enough about. The next underrated player I will discuss is Malcolm Brogdon of the Indiana Pacers, who has been playing great this season, and he's honestly been playing like an all-star level player, and he's just another victim of playing in a league that's way too talented, as this season he's been averaging 21 points and 6 assists, shooting 45% from the field and 39% from 3. He has been playing like a top 10 point guard in the league, and even though the Pacers are only the 10th seed right now and they're not out in the playoffs, I expect them to try and make a run for the playoffs as the season goes on, because they have really struggled with injuries. Malcolm often gets slept on because his play is not flashy at all, and because he plays for the Indiana Pacers, who, if we're being honest, aren't too popular. If we're being honest, this whole Pacers team is underrated, as they had to be an injury for Domantas Sabonis to make the All-Star team, which is ridiculous. But nonetheless, in my opinion, Malcolm Brogdon is very, very underrated. The fifth and final underrated player I will discuss is Demar DeRozan of the San Antonio Spurs. And if we're being honest, ever since he got traded to the Spurs, DeRozan has been underrated, as even though this season hasn't been his best statistical season, he has still played like an all-star, and he is surprisingly leading the Spurs all the way to the postseason when no one thought they would. Recently, people have gone far enough to leave DeRozan out of their top 10 shooting guard list, and he was left off the all-star team this season, even though he was putting up all-star numbers of 20 points, 4 rebounds, and 7 assists, shooting 49% from the field and 32% from 3. And at the time, the Spurs were the 4th seed, and even when they needed a replacement, they chose Mike Conley instead of DeRozan, even though it was clear that DeRozan deserved it more. But I can't be too mad at it, since it would have been a crime if Conley went his whole career without making the team. But DeRozan is very underrated, and I wouldn't mind seeing him joining a real championship contender this season. To conclude the video, this is just my personal top 5 most underrated players in the league, and depending on how well this video does, I might make a part 2. So if you think someone is underrated and isn't here, comment it down below and let me know. Anyways guys, that's it for the video. Let me know who you think the most underrated player in the whole NBA is. Drop a like on this video to help my channel grow. Subscribe to my channel if you want weekly NBA videos just like this, and to help me reach my goal of 1,000 subscribers. And comment on this video to start a conversation with me to respond to all of my comments. And I'm out.